Hi guys, this is Adam again with Adrenaline Cycles, coming at you with a new walk around video today on this 2021 Maverick X3 Smart Shox. As you can see here, it's a max model. I'll let Josh do a little buzz around here, show you some of the suspension stuff, then we'll come back around and hit some highlights. Josh, you want to give them a view? This unit here, we've had a lot of deposits on. This one's already sold. But we did want to do a walk around, give you people the opportunity to see the colors, how it's set up, how some of the suspension is on here, how the mounts come off of it, so it's reading all that information. And we'll go over some of the details we noticed right out of the gate when we got it put together. All right guys, for BRP to have a top of the line unit, it's great. My downside to it, I'm gonna bust on BRP a little bit. This little Smart Shox emblem is pretty pathetic, but hey, you know what you got, guys. I guess you don't want everybody to know how much, machine or money or whatever you want to call it you got. But yeah, for the machine itself, I was really upset that it didn't have more than just probably a 2x3 logo on it. But hey, the performance of it, we put 2 miles on this as we do all our units, and I drove most of them to get a feel for what it's doing, what it's not doing, or what I think about it. So I'll give you that review here in just a minute. Before we get too far in the walk around on this machine, let me go ahead and get you guys to hit that like and subscribe button. It'll probably be over here because there's more room for Josh. So hit that like and subscribe button, click that notification bell so you guys stay up to date with what we got going on. We are actually getting more units in, so we'll probably have quite a few videos cranked out here shortly with walk arounds on colors and things. But back to the Smart Shox. Everybody's been looking for this unit, everybody's been asking about this unit, everybody's been wanting to see this unit, and we're fortunate enough to have one here today. Like I said earlier, this machine is sold, it's been deposited on, the customer's been anxiously awaiting, and I'm telling you, he's going to be tickled to death. We'll start here at the front, go to the back, talk about some of the differences that we see on the Smart Shox over some of the other X3 XRS models. Since Josh is over on this side, we'll dive right into the suspension because that's what makes it a Smart Shox. As you can see, the reservoirs here now obviously have different decals for the Smart Shox, but the suspension mounting components up underneath here, you can see it mounts to the frame. That's where the 2 holes was on the frame everybody's asked about for years and years. And then from that you have a little arm that goes down to the A arm, and then this reads how much movement is in the suspension. Also, you'll see down here the wires that run to the Smart Shox on the bottom. They don't run to the top up here anywhere to do any adjusting. Everything's done down at the bottom. You can see the wires just run along. Got a nice little plug connector here down in the inside of the A arm. Now, we was curious about that to see where everything was going to be at on this model. We did not know exactly. We was curious to see just how it's going to affect how quick it can adjust when you're riding it by the flip of the switch. And really, all in all, it does really well. I was surprised to be able to tell how much difference just here in our small lot while we was putting the test miles on of what the machine changes from by the flip of the switch inside the cab. Also on the front here, you can see some other little things. Same thing's going to be over here on the driver's side as the passenger side. Again, these are going to be on every point or every arm at some point of the suspension. The lowers in the front don't have it, the rear trailing arms do. Again, these are all connected by wires, so you got a complete suspension harness that is connected into its own ECU to get all the information, calculate it, and do all it needs to do. Coming in the cab here, we'll get Josh to show you some of the switches that's in here, and you'll see the Smart Shox for the first time. Yeah, I'll do it. You'll see the Smart Shox switch in here. It goes from Comfort to Sport Plus. And one thing I noticed right out of the gate was I didn't know if there would be anything in the dash to tell you anything, or if we're just relying on the switch. But BRP has gone and put it in the dash so you can see it. So we're in Comfort now, and we'll go to Sport, and you can see it on the dash over here. You'll see a little Shox blinking at the top, and it said Sport. Say I want to go to Sport Plus, Go to Sport Plus, so it's a Sport Plus plus the shocks blinking again. So that's how you know there what you've selected on the switch over here. And it goes, like I said, it's just a toggle switch, and it lets you select the suspension, and from that selection it does all its calculations as you're riding to give you, the most comfortable ride and most stability and everything that you need. So that's really cool. Typical other stuff, you got your smart lock diff in this one as well, and trail and active mode. You got the traditional pad now for the last 2 years they've run, stuff like that. Red seats on the inside with harnesses like your traditional one. The flat dash, that they've been running all this year, again, we don't know what that's for. Maybe something down the road, but they got that on there as well. One thing we was kind of surprised about, that they didn't run the red down the tunnel on this like the XRC. The black's fine, but I'd like to see some red. That's just one of the things. The frame is powder coated, the tan color. That was one thing we was unsure of what it would come in, and then the cage is black. So, BRP's mixing it up, changing it up a little bit, trying to do some different things. Looks really good. We'll go to the very back and I'll show you some of the suspension, how it's all mounted here in the back as well. On this one, I'll leave Josh on the front side of it here, so you'll just hear me talking. You see the little link on the trailing arm up there, goes up in behind and mounts to the sway bar bolts on the front side. You can see it up there. The wire that comes back, you can see it runs into the bottom of the shock here, right down here. Again, they put a nice little clip in it up there, and then it runs on up into the main harness and does, all its calculations there. Another thing we did notice is this reservoir up here is probably close to 2 inches, 1.5 inches, 2 inches longer than the previous model XRS with the bypass shock. So I'm assuming obviously there's going to be more fluid in there if the canister is bigger. Again, no adjustments here at all. It's all done throughout the computer system, and BRP really hasn't told us exactly how they're doing that. We're still speculating on that here ourselves. One concern we do have with this is putting accessories on the back, like the pivot rack or the cooler. We like to mount this, flip it and roll it to the inside. It's going to get really close on the bed there, so keep that in mind if you're out there wanting to do some stuff. We haven't tried it yet because it's not our machine, so once we know that, we'll go over that in a little more detail. The red rings on the bead-lock, I think, help the buggy so much, brings more red to the machine. Really digging that, really liking that. Again, it's just your 30-inch bighorns, and nothing more, nothing less. They did go with a skinny front, 7-inch rim up front, a 9 in the rear. Same way with the tires, skinny front tire, wide rear tire. Coming on around the back, Josh, if you want, you can see standard 72-inch machine with the, just the standard radius rods, not the high arched ones like you see on the RC or the XMR. It does come with a nice pull plate. Again, you see a lot of the color in the tan frame and the trailing arms, which looks really, really good. And Josh can show you some more of the suspension stuff on this side. I mean, it's the same setup as the other side, but it's just obviously on the driver's side. But nice clips welded onto the trailing arms from factory. Everything's buttoned in there, looks really good. Seems to be tucked up out of the way pretty good. I'm not real concerned yet, so pretty happy with that from BRP. That's about it, guys. Like I said, it's the first Smart Shox we've had our hands on. Just happens to be a 4-seater, and like I said, I put about 1.7 miles on it here, flipping between the switches, riding it around, not flogging on it because it's a customer, not ours, but we put 2 miles on everything and just driving around the lot here, flipping the switch from comfort to sport plus. You could tell it got a lot softer, a lot smoother really quick. So I was kind of hesitant on this before, but my next machine definitely very well could be one of these. I'm digging it. I like how simple it is. If I'm riding in the rocks all day in comfort mode, I get down on the log road and wanting to hammer home, I can flip that suspension to Sport Plus, and then I probably beat everybody by 10 miles an hour running down the road because it'll have a lot more stability and won't want to roll. So that's a really good feature of this, and you don't have to have tools to do it. So Again, guys, if you have any questions or are looking for a new machine, give us a call here at the shop at 606-258-0005. Or if you have any questions on these machines, you can post in the comments down below and we'll try our best to answer that question as honestly as we can. And as always, stay safe on the trail and we look forward to seeing you.